Lately, there's been a lot of buzz about mysterious drone activity in the United States. These aren't your typical drones you'd see at a park or filming an influencer's travel vlog. These are much larger, more advanced, and often spotted near critical infrastructure like power plants, airports, and military bases. Now, I want to be upfront. What I'm about to share is a theory. This idea has already been circulating on platforms like X and YouTube. And while it makes sense to me, it's purely speculative. I'm not here to spread misinformation, just to explore possibilities. So, let's break this down and see if we can make sense of what's going on. Over the last few months, drones have been spotted in areas where they have no apparent reason to be. Reports describe them flying at night, low to the ground, and often near highly sensitive locations. Witnesses say these drones are larger than usual, with visible lights and beacons, making them impossible to miss. The sightings have triggered countless questions. Who's operating them? What are they looking for? And why are they so conspicuous? The conspicuous nature of these drones is one of the biggest puzzles. Typically, surveillance operations aim to stay under the radar, figuratively and literally. Yet these drones seem designed to be seen. Could that be intentional? Or is it simply a byproduct of regulations requiring visible markers, like lights and beacons? There are several plausible explanations for this drone activity, each with its own set of implications. The most likely theory is that these drones are part of an official operation. They may be scanning for environmental hazards, inspecting critical infrastructure, or conducting training exercises for advanced drone technology. I believe these drones are scanning for something within the US, possibly to identify a potential threat. I don't think they're here to harm us, but it's clear they are specifically designed to detect something significant. I won't speculate on what that threat might be, but if you're curious about the information I've been looking at, I encourage you to search for John Ferguson on X. John Ferguson is the CEO of Saxon Aerospace, a manufacturer of advanced unmanned drones sold to the military. He has an interesting theory about what's happening, drawing from his extensive expertise in the field. It's also possible these drones belong to private companies testing new technologies. With advancements in AI and drone capabilities, companies could be experimenting with systems for search and rescue missions, industrial inspections, or disaster response. Some speculate these drones could be tied to foreign reconnaissance efforts. However, this seems less likely due to their size and visibility. Covert espionage operations would typically involve smaller, less detectable drones. Another theory is that the attention on these drones has been inflated by misinformation. UFO speculation and outlandish theories have clouded the issue, making it harder to identify legitimate concerns. This could be an intentional tactic to keep people guessing, or simply the result of the internet doing what it does best, amplifying the noise. I don't believe these drones are tied to the private sector or a foreign government. I think our government knows exactly what's going on, but is staying silent to avoid alarming the public. If the drones are tied to sensitive operations, the government may want to avoid drawing attention to them. By staying silent, officials might hope to prevent speculation from spiraling out of control. Let's talk about the technology. Witnesses describe drones with advanced capabilities, from long flight times to unique designs that suggest high-end manufacturing. Some reports indicate these drones are equipped with cutting-edge sensors, capable of detecting changes in the environment or identifying specific materials. These features could make them invaluable for tasks like monitoring air quality, inspecting pipelines, or surveying hard-to-reach areas. Their size and visible lights also suggest they're designed for specific regulated purposes. This isn't the kind of drone you can pick up at a hobby shop. It's something much more sophisticated. While theories abound, many questions remain unanswered. Why are these drones consistently appearing near critical infrastructure? If they're part of a government operation, why hasn't there been any public acknowledgement? What exactly are they monitoring, and why now? These are the questions that keep fueling speculation. Until we get answers, all we can do is analyze the evidence and connect the dots where possible. Now I'm going to share some of the top comments on my latest video about these drones. Anyone else notice how it didn't start until after the elections? In 1999, a single aircraft out of Orlando, heading for Dallas and carrying golfer Payne Stewart, went off course and did not respond to controllers. An F-16 test pilot was nearby, checked out the plane, and told controllers there was no response. A little less than 3 hours later, 2 EF-16s were dispatched, and they reported no movement in the cockpit and no response when trying to make contact. The plane eventually went down in South Dakota after running out of fuel. The cause was blamed on a loss of cabin pressure, causing everyone on board to lose consciousness. The flight lasted a little less than 4 hours. Think about that. In under 4 hours, 3 EF-16s were involved. Today, we have multiple so-called drones being sighted over different parts of the country. Officials tell us there is no danger. They say they have no idea what these drones are, yet they send no planes or anything else to check them out. Call me a nut. Call me a conspiracy theorist. But something is fishy. Something is going on. And here we sit, not knowing anything. We are being lied to. I remember in the 80s when we had fighter jets scrambling every time a Russian aircraft pointed its nose in our direction. Now it's like our air defense is non-existent. Isn't it NORAD's job to monitor our airspace and react to unknown incursions? How is it that now we can have Chinese spy balloons traversing the country and mystery drones swarming over or around our military installations without any sort of defensive action being taken? This lack of response leads me to believe this is our own military activity, performing tests or operations on a need-to-know level. The government's response of not knowing what they are, while simultaneously telling us they are not a threat, is proof enough of that. The Pentagon had a press briefing about these drones. They said that the drones are not ours. They said they don't know whose drones they are or belong to, another nation or company or individual. So the military said the drones aren't ours. They don't know where they are coming from or going to or what they are doing. The Pentagon said there is no cause for alarm, nothing for us to be worried about. The drones are flying over commercial jets and airports. They are flying over military installations with impunity. How is this drone situation not a national emergency? How is this drone situation not a national security crisis? If I were to fly my own drone over an airport or military facility, it would be shot down and I would go to jail in a heartbeat. I'm a very skeptical guy, so I don't believe in aliens or extraterrestrial vehicles. But WTF is going on with these drones? In this day and age when a satellite can read a license plate from orbit, there's no way we can't detect these things. Not to mention the radar and sonar and other electronic and optical and audio detection capabilities we have should easily be able to track and identify these things. I don't know why the spokespeople for our government are acting like blissful idiots. The sheer number of people, tanks, and artillery that have been taken out by drones in the Ukraine war make it extremely ignorant of us to just ignore these drones. I saw 8 lights in a specific sector of the night sky, north of Cincinnati, a week ago while walking my dog. They looked like stars, faint, no blinking lights, moved in straight lines. Lights went out on most of them. Saw 3 of them at once. One came perfectly straight down. Not a meteorite because there was no flash streak. Commercial airplanes, too, gave me some perspective during my 5-minute walk. It looked like these lights were miles higher, moving slightly faster than the commercial airliners I saw. I was genuinely freaked. The next day is when a coworker told me about the New Jersey drones. If only these lights I saw didn't move in straight lines, or move sporadically, I'd be genuinely freaked. Well, I still feel quite uneasy, and I'm trying to be reasonable as possible. None of the drones are extraterrestrial in nature. They are purely ISG, illegal secret shadow government creations, and most likely a precursor to their Project Blue Beam plan of a false flag alien invasion situation. Considering that the ISG is literally over 100 years more advanced in tech than anything in the public and normal military. Their craft, like the TR-3B and others, look like UFOs to most people. Dr. Stephen Greer has noted multiple times that the ISG mastered gravitational control back in 1954 from tech that was tested and studied by a person that I forget the name of from the 1920s. Couple that with very downed ET craft that the ISG has captured and reverse engineered, they have ships that blow away anything that normal military has or we use in everyday life. I highly recommend watching Greer's recent batch of superb disclosure videos on his channel. Alright, I can't be the only one connecting the dots here. These drones are everywhere, and yet we're all just supposed to sit here and act like it's no big deal. Come on, this isn't some hobbyist with a $500 drone flying around for fun. And it's definitely not a coincidence that they keep showing up near power plants, military bases, and airports. Here's my theory. What if these drones aren't from some foreign government or rogue group, but part of something much larger? I'm talking high-level testing of technology that most of us can't even comprehend yet. Think about it. AI advancements, swarm drones, atmospheric sensors. This stuff isn't sci-fi anymore. It's real, and it's happening right in front of us. And let me ask you this. Since when do unknown objects get a free pass in U.S. airspace? We've had decades of scrambling jets for less. If NORAD, Homeland Security, or whoever else is in charge isn't responding, there's a reason for that. Either they know what's happening and don't want to tell us, or these drones are so advanced they've bypassed the detection systems we're relying on. Neither option is comforting. But here's the part that's got me spinning. Why now? Why are we seeing clusters of these things all at once? It's like someone is preparing for something. Mapping areas, running coordinated tests, or gathering data. Maybe it's surveillance, maybe it's a defense system, or maybe it's a whole new level of technology being deployed in the background without anyone noticing until it's too late. And I'll throw this out there. What if they're not here for us? What if they're looking for something else? We know about sensors that detect materials, heat signatures, energy spikes, you name it. What if something bigger is going on under the surface? Something they aren't telling us about because they know how people would react. I know, I probably sound nuts, but don't pretend you haven't thought about it too. The silence from officials is deafening, and the more they dismiss this, the less I believe them. Whatever's going on, this isn't random. Pay attention. Something's in the air, and I don't just mean the drones. This whole drone situation stinks of a cover-up. I mean, come on. Do you really think it's a coincidence that these things are showing up now, in this many places, at this level of sophistication? Open your eyes, people. Something big is going on, and it's way beyond what they're telling us. Let's start with the basics. These aren't your run-of-the-mill drones you can grab at a store. These things are massive, highly advanced, and operating in ways that don't make sense for a civilian device. And don't tell me the government doesn't know what they are. Are you seriously telling me that with all the billions they pour into radar systems, satellites, and tracking tech, they just lost track of a whole fleet of flying objects? Yeah, right. And think about the locations. Military bases, critical infrastructure, high security areas. It's like these drones are targeting the backbone of our country. Why? To gather intelligence, to prepare for something, or maybe even to deliver something. I'm not saying it's an attack, but I'm also not saying that. What if these drones are part of a larger operation? Something global, something coordinated? We already know governments, ours included, love to conduct secret experiments. What if this is a live test for swarm technology? Imagine a future where hundreds of drones can move like a single organism, gather data, or even carry out missions without a single human operator. If that doesn't send chills down your spine, you're not paying attention. And don't even get me started on how suspicious the government's silence is. They don't know what these are. Really? If they're telling us that, it means one of two things. They know exactly what's going on and don't want us to panic. They don't know, and they're completely powerless to stop it. Neither of those options inspires confidence, does it? Now let me go a step further because this is where things get really weird. What if these drones aren't just about spying or testing? What if they're scanning for something underground? Think about it. Earthquakes, magnetic anomalies, strange weather patterns. All of these have been happening in the same regions as the drone sightings. Coincidence? Or are these drones looking for something buried? Something we're not supposed to know about? And here's another theory for you. What if they're not ours? I'm not talking about China or Russia. I'm talking about something completely off the grid. What if we're dealing with technology that isn't even from this planet? I know, it sounds crazy. But ask yourself this. Why would they want us to believe it's nothing while doing absolutely nothing to address it? Maybe they want us to think it's just a silly conspiracy, so we don't ask too many questions. Call me paranoid. Call me a nut. But the more I think about it, the more obvious it becomes. This isn't random, and it isn't harmless. These drones are here for a reason, and whatever that reason is, they're not telling us. Maybe it's time we start asking the hard questions and stop accepting the official story at face value. Something is happening, and if we wait too long to figure it out, it might be too late.